morning, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Thank you for welcoming me into your home. My name is Michelle van Deventer. I am a social worker at Badisa Trio in Kraaifontein. And I've come to see you today because you have indicated that you would like to become safety parents, temporary safe care parents. Do you know anything about what it is to become a safety parent, or do I need to explain the differences for you?
Yeah, no, you can please explain a bit more.
Okay, so um, as I mentioned, I am from Badisa in Kraaifontein, and we are a child protection organization. So often when we go out and do home visits in the community, there are situations where we need to remove a child urgently in order to keep them safe. So in those situations, we need safety parents, people like yourselves, who are willing to assist children on a temporary basis. So what happens is we then place children in a safety parent's care while we continue with our investigation. So it's not foster care and it's not adoption. Foster care is a longer term placement where children stay with you for up to 2 years, and adoption is obviously a permanent placement option.
But what's the criteria we have to follow?
Okay, so criteria, each application that we receive is handled differently. We look at your unique circumstances, but basically we're looking for a stable, loving couple. You need to be financially stable and obviously have a passion for children. And then we also have a look at what your motivation is. Why is it that you are wanting to be safety parents?
Alright, Michelle, what type of child can we expect? I really want a daughter. Can you help me with that?
Okay, Mr. Smith, safety parents are able to specify what type of child they are able to care for. Basically, with regards to age and gender, it becomes difficult if you wish to specify race, because we can never assure which children we're going to remove. What you can also expect is that we will never place more than 6 children with you. Safety parents are not allowed to have more than 6 children in the care, but that doesn't include your own biological children. And I'm glad that you asked the question, Mr. Smith, because I think it's very important that safety parents understand that these children that we need to place are very traumatized, either by their history and experience, or the removal itself is very traumatic. So often the children might present as having emotional problems or being difficult. You might think that the children are naughty. So it's very important to understand that these are traumatized children that may present with some challenging behavior.
Thank you very much for that, but is there any financial obligations we have to follow or have?
Okay, first of all, the screening process, that process that I just took you through with all the application forms, that process is free. But we do expect you to pay for your own police clearance, and that is approximately 114 Rand per person. And then obviously you need to pay to post your Form 30s to the Department of Social Development. When we discussed the criteria earlier on, I explained to you that you needed to be financially stable, because safety parents only receive 27 Rand a day subsidy from government to care for the children. So obviously as safety parents, depending on which children you are able to take, if they're of school going age, you can apply for exemption with your safety care order. But if, for example, a child is in nursery school and you would like to put them in a creche because you're working during the day, those are costs that you would have to cover yourself.
Can you please tell us what rights and responsibilities do we have
as safety parents? That's a very good question. As a safety parent, you have the right to make decisions in the day-to-day care of the child. So you don't, for example, have to ask us, can you take the child out to the shop today to go and buy stuff for school? But obviously, parents don't lose their rights, so you can't, for example, decide that you want to pierce a child's ear without consulting the mother. You also have the right to privacy. So when we talk about rights and responsibilities, they normally go hand in hand. So you have a responsibility not to obstruct contact between the biological parents and the child, but you also have the right to your privacy. They cannot phone you early hours of the morning or harass you, come to your house and threaten you. So you do have the right to privacy, and you also have the right to be informed. As I said earlier, there are court processes involved, and you have a right to be made aware of what is happening in the process and what you can expect in terms of the child being in your care. When we are doing our investigation, if a child cannot be placed back into their parents' care and we are considering foster care or adoption, you also have the right to apply to be considered foster parents or to adopt the child. And then we also have an obligation, and you have the right to receive support and ongoing training from Badisa. So once you have been screened and successfully approved as safety parents, we will then provide you with training so that you can understand how to deal with the children's needs. And then a few of the responsibilities, as we've said before, you have the responsibility to care for the child financially. And if parents, for example, are in a position and give you some money towards the care of the child, it's your responsibility to use that money appropriately in the best interest of the child. As I said earlier, you are responsible to not obstruct contact between the parents. If the child is of school-going age, you would need to arrange that the child go to school. Badisa can help maybe with a letter if that is required, but it's your responsibility to approach the school and ensure that the child attends school. You also have the responsibility to cooperate with our organization. And if the child comes from a different culture or a racial background, you also have the responsibility to ensure that that child remains connected with his or her culture or responsibility.
What happens now after we've been approved? What can we expect?
So I just want to remind you that the screening process takes quite a while. But once you have been accepted and screened, you go onto our safety parent database. And we, as I said, it's an emergency placement. So we can call you any time of the day or night. It could be over a weekend. It could even be early hours of the morning, where we urgently need placement. So you can expect a call anytime. And what is important to know is that you need to be available the next day to go to court. You don't necessarily both have to be in court, but the very next day we are all required, all parties concerned need to be in the court. And yeah, the investigation process through court when you remove a child is 90 days. But sometimes a child will be with you for less than 90 days if the children's court inquiry is finalized quicker. And sometimes we might need to extend the 90 days. But we will keep you informed along the process.
Okay.